Guys, it's me again, and I'm just here to talk a little bit about DMR and the latest news. And recently, they just changed their name or merged with 704 Games. I guess that's going to be the new name. And there's really not a lot out there, but apparently they merged with this company, and they did officially make a statement saying yes, they're releasing the next NASCAR Heat Evolution game in the fall. That could be September, October, November, but we know the game's coming. We know they're working on it, and so that's not big news because we kind of knew that was coming. But this thing with the rebranding, um, only a year after becoming DMR. I don't know what to think about that. So I don't want to speculate too much on it. There's still a lot we don't know, but it's not really, in my opinion, a good sign when a company has to rebrand because it just goes to show you that whatever they were doing wasn't successful financially, whatever the case may be. Maybe they feel that rebranding, sometimes they do this. It's like putting a fresh coat of paint on something and then changing the name, and now people automatically think, hey, this is a whole new uh, uh, project or business entity. When in reality, it's not a big change. It's just that the old name kind of became a negative because, for whatever reason, it wasn't succeeding at what it was trying to do. Now, I'm not saying that's the case. I'm just saying that it's a little bit of a red flag this early. It's only a year later. And it might be a feeble attempt to make people feel like they're addressing problems, but we don't really know because they're not very open about what they feel may be something they need to work on. All they do as a company, and all they've done, is make statements, releasing on statements on Facebook and Twitter, and it's always the same generic. We've passed this along to our team, and we're working on it, uh, and we're hoping to implement this in a future iteration of the game. Same stuff I talked about in my previous videos, and it's just the typical jargon you get from a company or a business that isn't really uh, attempting to address the problems that their consumers are trying to bring to light. Maybe they are trying to address this stuff, so I don't want to like say this with 100% absolute certainty, but I tend to read things that have already happened, and I look at that and I make a judgment call based on that. And as far as I'm concerned, they have yet to prove themselves to the point where I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm sorry, but that's just the way I do things. Uh, if you continue to fail at something or show me a certain thing about yourself, why should I assume the best? I'm just going to assume you're going to give me more of the same. So until they actually make a clear and definitive statement about anything they're doing, I'm going to assume that it's bullshit or just PR stuff. They're going to just put statements out there and it's very generic. And I really don't know what's going on. The rebranding for me, it might be a good thing. Maybe if they're combining with this other company and they're going to just have more people working on this, and that's, to me, that's always good because the more people they can have working on this, the more things they can address and maybe make a better product. The problem is we don't know where their head's at. And I'm going to say something I never thought I'd say, but Eutechnics in some aspects did things slightly better. And before anybody goes, you're fucking crazy, this is what I'm talking about. Utechnics at least gave us a forum. There's no NASCAR forum for, gamers like myself. I remember on the Utechnics forums, we had a place to congregate and discuss the game, and the Utechnics would chime in from time to time. So at least you felt, even though it wasn't as it should have been, but at least you felt like, hey, they're listening to us at least this much, and they know what's going on. So Utechnics knew the issues of the game. And another thing that I'm surprised, sometimes I mean to discuss certain things, and I get into a rant, and I get carried away because I'm so passionate about, NASCAR games. Yeah, there are more important things in life, but this is what I'm talking about. But I get carried away sometimes, and I forget sometimes certain things I wanted to talk about. But besides the forum, I wanted to bring that up because we have no forum, and I'm a little surprised that these guys didn't do that because it would help people maintain interest in this project, the game. But also, they never addressed by way of patches anything regarding this game. They abandoned this game immediately, and they just focused on DLC content. And at least Utechnics, even though their patches didn't really do much, they did put out patches. DMR hasn't even attempted to do that. You still have a broken caution system that has really a game-breaking issue. It really makes the game almost completely unplayable, especially in career mode. They haven't even tried to patch that. And for the life of me, I never thought that they would just completely ignore the game to that extent. And to me, that's a huge negative on the company. You haven't even tried to fix the product you sold to people. And usually, even the worst companies try to patch games. They completely ignored the issues of the game and decided to focus on DLC. They want you to buy garbage, meaningless DLC, and they're not even working to patch this game. Now they made the announcement. They're working on the next game. And for me, it's already too late to try to even patch this game. If you're going to put out a game in the fall, just put all your effort into that. The things that you should have addressed with this game, make sure you address it with the next game. I've already said the things that this game needs. And here's another thing about this merger. They mentioned someone's name. I'm sorry. I forgot the guy's name, but supposedly he's got like 19 years working in NASCAR in different capacities. And I don't know what he did, but he was not a game developer. He doesn't really... It's just somebody from the world of NASCAR itself. I don't know who this guy is, but what does he bring to the table? I don't know. And I don't want to put a big negative around his neck, but what you really need here is somebody who understands the world of game development. Yeah, it's great that it's someone who worked at NASCAR in some capacity, but just, it's kind of apples and oranges. That doesn't mean he knows what makes a good game. And I guarantee you, if you ask him about the game that DMR released, now 704 Games, he'll probably tell you the same thing that any DMR developer or employee would tell you about how great the game is and how realistic it is and all the fucking typical bullshit PR that you always hear. I guarantee you'd get the same thing from him. What you're not going to get is a guy who comes in and says, you know what, this game has certain issues like A, B, and C, and we need to address that stuff, and I'm here to help us get on the right track. And I think you're gonna see a better product because we're gonna address these aspects, and I'm gonna help with my experience working in the world of NASCAR I can bring a different insight into the game development, and that would be something that I'd like to hear. But we don't know anything, and it's like it's almost like another PR move. We're changing the name, we're rebranding. This guy used to work at NASCAR. He's got 19 years in NASCAR under different capacities, and he's part of this team now. He was president of this or whatever, and they probably think, okay, just hearing that, the typical fan like myself is going to automatically be like, hey, this is great news, and the next game's going to be kick-ass because of this. No. I want to know what he brings to the table. What's different about this? What is rebranding going to do for the development of the next game? And how is this going to improve everything? And none of that has been talked about. Everything is just the same generic PR stuff. And like I said, from what I've seen in the past, when a company or a business rebrands, it's usually, more often than not, because they were unsuccessful at whatever it was they were trying to do. And they're just trying to kickstart everything or give it new life. And it's only a year that DMR has existed, and now they're 704 games. I'd love to hear from them more in depth as far as what they're hoping to get from this. Because if they don't talk about it, I have to assume it's just a typical rebrand. And it's not really addressing anything. It's just putting a fresh coat of paint and it's trying to hide all the flaws. I could be wrong, but I'd like to be wrong. But most of the predictions I make about these things, they've turned out to be right. If you go back, look at my past videos, any prediction I've made has come true. And even if it didn't come true 100%, it pretty much happened the way I said it would. And I'm not happy about that. I'd love to be wrong because most of the time it's been negative criticism. But I can't, to this day, nobody can honestly point and say I was wrong or I don't know what I'm talking about. I'd love to be wrong. I'm rooting for these guys, as I've said in the past, but I don't like what I'm seeing. And I know how to read between the lines. And when I see certain moves, I got to call it like I see it. And I used to, speaking about forums like from the Eutechnics days, I used to get into arguments with people. Some of you guys may have argued with me and don't know that it was me. But I was on those forums, and you guys used to argue all the time, and I used to tell you guys, this is crap, this is not working right, and you guys would be like, oh, it's just their first game, it's just their second game, it's just their third game. Every year was the same argument, and you would defend these guys, and they say, oh, they're a small company, they don't have the resources, and we'd have the same arguments. And guess what? Eutechnics came and went. They gave us 5 games, and they were all trash. They never fixed the problems I constantly was hammering them about. Statistics, career mode, content, all this stuff. It was never addressed. And you guys just kept coming back with the same arguments. So this is what's going to happen again. And you guys are going to be like, oh, well, if it's just their first game, it'll get better. Until I actually see something, to me, it's still all bullshit. I'm hoping to find out more about this rebranding or merging of the companies, and now there are 704 games. I want to know, what is this going to do for the future of the NASCAR game development? What do you guys think? These guys have a lot of work to do. This last game was abandoned. I don't care what anyone says. They did not address anything. They put this product out. It was a glorified demo, no content. I I forgot how many gigs the game was, but it's such a small game. It's got no content. And the broken caution system, they never tried to patch that. I'm shocked that they didn't even do that, because even the worst game developers try to at least patch some of their issues. And that's such a game-breaking issue. How do you abandon this game like that? And you're still pushing out DLC. None of it looks good. So, I mean, I don't know what to think, man. I'm looking forward to the game because I want to see if they're actually going to do something. But you guys got to stop. You got to stop defending them and giving them the benefit of the doubt. There's no excuse. And if this game is released in the fall and it's just another mess, I don't know what to say. I've lost a lot of hope. I'll be honest with you guys. I always get excited and I'm looking forward and I'm hoping. But, it's one thing to hope and be optimistic, but it's not really rooted in reality. For some reason, NASCAR game development has suffered due to a lack of passion by the developers. You could see these games, there's no passion behind it. It's like, just what can we push out there, squeeze the most money out of it, and not invest the least amount of resources. And I was hoping that a new developer would just take things to a whole new level. But like I predicted with DMR when they first announced, I said I was suspecting that a lot of these people were from Mutechnics. And they just rebranded, brought most of these people. I don't know. I'm running out of shit to say. I'm not a professional journalist. Like I said before, I don't do this to make money or monetize or anything. I'm just a guy who cares about, who loves NASCAR and cares about NASCAR games. And the fact that we haven't had a game that is worthy of our money and our loyalty, it just bothers me. I'm trying to get something done. And I can't do this alone. I need other people to get out there. And, I'm not on Twitter or Facebook or any of that stuff. But those of you who are, get on there, man. Don't let up on these guys. Call them out. And when they give you that same generic response of, we've passed this along to our development team and we hope to whatever, call them out, man. Say, this is not enough. This is a bullshit PR response. It's probably fucking coming from a fucking computer, a server somewhere that gives automatic response. We want to hear more. We want you to come out here, talk to us, let us know, what do you think is wrong with this game? I want to hear from the developers, because all they do is praise their own garbage. Let me hear from them and say, I want to hear from them, hey man, we know that the game needs this and that, and we didn't really deliver on that, but we're working on it, and don't give us bullshit, man. Tell us what you really think is wrong with the game and what you're working on. What are you doing about it? You want to keep me as a consumer, you got to do something. You can't put out these generic responses. And those of you out there who care about games like NASCAR games like I do, you got to do your part, man. Get on the fucking Twitter feed. Get on Facebook. Do this stuff, I'm trying, but I'm just a nobody on YouTube. I don't have a large following. Guys out there who have a much larger following, when they talk, game developers listen more. So if you could forward my videos, that would help. But I really don't care, because it's not about me. I'd rather someone else who does have a stronger voice in the community and cares about NASCAR games, take the ball and run with it. Use your name and your stature in the YouTube community to push this issue, because I've tried, and I tried the best I could, but the message seems to be falling on deaf ears. So we need everybody to band together and send a message, man. And don't buy their DLC, man. That's the best message you could send. When they see nobody's buying this stuff, they're gonna start focusing on the meat and potatoes, the game. Stop selling us half-finished games and then trying to monetize on the other end by developing garbage DLC. We used to get games that had so much content. There's no excuse. So, what do you guys think? And let's keep this thing going forward, man. Because I'll be honest with you, I'm really starting to lose hope and optimism. I'm at the end of my rope. And I tell you right now, if this next game turns out to be just another generic, half-assed demo, I'm gonna be fucking done. And I'm just gonna give up. I don't care, man. I don't know what else to say, man. So, what do you guys think? I look forward to your comments.